Hey guys, Mr. T here. On a video for interest and interest in general and simple interest. So this is going to be the second to last video that I'm going to be doing on my Surface. Hopefully the videos improve as I start doing them with the iPad Pro. So say goodbye to this particular video style that's going on. Alright, so interest. What is the idea of interest? When you lend money in the real world, the person lending money is called the lender, and the person receiving the money is the borrower. And the amount that was lent or borrowed is called the principal. Now, lenders aren't just going to let people borrow money for no charge. They're not just going to say lend you $100 and expect it back later. They need to get something out of it in real life, okay? So they usually will charge a fee for the use of the principal. So you can think of this fee as the cost of using another person's money. If you don't have the money, you need to borrow it for someone. And if you borrow from someone, well, you're going to have to pay it back with interest, with a bit of a sweetener at the end of it to make the person happy who let you borrow that money in the first place. So this fee is known as interest. Most commonly, the interest is calculated as a percentage of the principal, not just like $50, say, which would be 50% of that 100. It would be expressed as a percentage of the principal, and that percentage is known as the interest rate. The interest is also usually calculated regularly, usually per annum, which means per year, and that means the amount of interest that a borrower has to pay depends on three things: the original amount, the thing that they're borrowing, the percentage interest rate that they are being offered to borrow that money, and how long they are borrowing it for. Okay, because if they're borrowing it over a long period of time, they're going to have to pay interest at each of these regular intervals, usually a year. So the first interest we need to deal with is called simple interest. It's the easiest method of calculating interest. Sometimes it's known as a flat rate or flat rate interest. Now with simple interest, the interest you pay each year is a set percentage of the original. Okay, so let's say you borrowed $100 and you needed to pay 10% per annum. 10% of 100 is 10, and let's say you're borrowing it over 3 years. That means that you're always going to pay 10% of that original $100 every year that you borrow. So you're going to be paying 10 in the first year, 10 in the second year, 10 in the third year. So all up, you're going to pay $30 of interest at the end. So how do we break that down to one formula? Well, this is it. The simple interest formula is P times by R times by T, PRT, where P is the principal amount, the interest rate as a decimal, be wary of that, don't just put the percentage in, and then the time in years. So you can see how the formula relates to the things that determine the interest: the principal amount, P, the interest rate percentage as a decimal, R, and the time as T. So let's do a couple of examples here. So let me get my calculator on the phone ready to go. Alright, so find the simple interest paid, so just the interest paid on an investment of $8,000 at a flat rate of 7% over 18 months. So notice here that this formula tells you what the simple interest is, and this question is asking for the simple interest, so we're going to be able to find it directly, the answer, using this formula. Simple interest, SI, is going to be the principal. So what's the original amount of money? 8,000 times by, what's the rate? 7% per annum, but I need the rate as a decimal, so 7% is going to be 0.07 times by the time in years. Well, 18 months, we know 12 months is a year, and 18 months is 12 months and 6 months, so it's 1.5 years. You need to convert it. Okay, if you're not sure, like how I did there, you can divide 18 by 12 and you'll also get 1.5. okay, you divide 18 by 12 because it's in months and you want it into years, and there's 12 months in a year. So if I put that into the calculator, 8,000 times by 0.07 times by 1.5, that's going to be $840 simple interest. So this investment started at 8,000, the interest paid on investment, so that started at $8,000 and another $840 is going to go on top of that. Okay. In this case, it's an investment, so basically they're putting away the money and they're letting it grow at the rate of 7% per annum. So what are they going to end up with? They're going to end up with the $8,000 they started with plus the $840 that it grew by in interest. Alright, so you just have to be careful about what the question is actually suggesting. It's either going to be someone borrowing money or someone lending money out as an investment so they get money back in interest. So let's look at this question. $2,700 is an investment again, so they're putting money away or giving it to someone and expecting interest back. This time at 5% per annum, simple interest. What's the total value of the investment going to be after 8 years? So the only difference here is you're looking at the total value of the investment, not the simple interest. But you only have a formula for simple interest, so that's what you're going to use here to start off with. Principal is $2,700. The rate, 5% per annum, is going to be 0.05 as a decimal, times by the time in years is going to be 8. So chuck that in the calculator. 2,700 times by 0.05 times by 8. That comes to 1080. But just remember, that is the simple interest. That is the fee. That is what they get on top. If they've invested $2,700, they've still got that. They're just getting the interest on top of that. So the whole investment, therefore total value of the investment, is going to be what they started off with plus the interest they earned, which is $2,700, what they started off with, plus the interest they earned over the course of 8 years, 1080. In the calculator it goes, and that's going to be 3780. So that's what this person is going to end up with at the end. They put $2,700 away or gave it to someone for 8 years, and that person was obliged to pay back 5% of that every year for those 8 years. So when he gets the principal back and the interest, the principal and the interest back, he'll end up with 3780 at the end. Alright, so hopefully that helps you out with simple interest, and I'll see you on the next video.